Hi, I'm OPJ, and you're watching Under the Chart with Sway.
Yes, that's a good one, bro. That's a good one. Hey, for those who don't know, OPJ, I have met you at Hustle and Flow Bar a few times. I
Yeah, a
love the
couple.
energy you've got going on, bro. So tell me about yourself, man. For those who don't know you.
Well, I'm a rapper, I'm a producer, and Cat, please stop meowing at me. I'm a rapper, I'm a producer. I've been working on stuff for years and years, but I never actually done anything with the community until I started going to Hustle and Flow and meeting people there. So I've had all this like music and all these ideas like practically my entire life, and I'm 27 now, about to be 28, and I'm only just now going out and having like the confidence to push it and really try to achieve it properly. You know what I mean? Before I was like making music and posting it out, not really talking to anyone about it, just sort of hoping that it'd blow up overnight, Justin Bieber style or whatever.
Mhm.
But I've come to learn that you really do need your community and that you need to be a frequent face in the community if you want, any kind of traction or any kind of real traction anyway. Like, yeah, solid traction with what's the word I'm looking for? Like um
Consistency?
yeah, consistency and like pureness, for the culture and kind of thing. And I want it to feel like I'm just trying to, be part of the culture without being part of the culture. So I feel like it's a very important thing to go out and meet people and actually help build up the culture. And that's kind of my main mission at the moment, is to sort of bring everybody up that I can, not just myself, but I want the whole scene to come up and be a bit more popular and start doing a bit more things. And that starts with the community. So that's me. I'm a community man. I love making music. Yeah, practically that's pretty much it.
I really dig that.
Yeah.
Honestly, OP, I really dig that. Community is a huge part when it comes to making music, growing, learning about yourself, and just working with others and collaborating. How have you, since you've started, we'll start there. How have you progressed into the man you are now, into the scene?
Um, since I started, uh, like it was very stagnant. I had a few mates that I was rapping with and stuff, but we weren't really doing anything. Like there was no sort of ball rolling. Um, I kind of feel like I needed that time because I was going through personal growth, and as everybody does when they go from 17 to 27, you change a little bit. And like I feel like now is kind of like the perfect time for me because I've become a more community orientated man. I've become like there are things that matter to me more than just getting big off of music. Like so, I feel like I had to wait all that time and be a bit dormant before really being able to be confident enough and skilled enough to come out and sort of try to rally people together and things like that. So um, it's also helped build up my confidence tremendously. In the past year alone, going out and meeting all these people and getting these kinds of props. And, some people know my name before I even meet them, just because other people tell them, oh, he's really good at what he does. And that has boosted my confidence like tremendously. I actually feel like because of music, I'm becoming like the man I was always supposed to be, if you know what I mean. Like I'm really coming out of my shell and talking to all these people. Like before this year and last year, I wasn't really talking to a lot of people. I had like a few mates that I grew up with and stuff, but not like a whole solid circle and stuff. So my circle's just increased tremendously, and like my life in general has gotten better because of music, just because I've made so many friends and connections and stuff. And that's like really important to me. That matters a lot to me. So um, I think definitely it's in the past just a year alone, it's like my journey sort of shaped me into being more about what's around me. I actually made like a proper shift, like a conscious shift to start focusing more on what's around me rather than just myself, especially when it comes to the music itself. I used to just rap about how good I was at rapping. And now I feel like I'm touching on subjects that actually matter to people and mean things. And at the moment, I've only got a few songs out on Spotify, but once this EP comes out, in on the 20th, I feel like people are going to be able to see that I'm not one of those rappers that just raps about how good they are at rapping. You know, I can talk about stuff of substance and things that matter to people, and that's really where I want to go with in the future, my direction with music. So
100%. OPJ, bro. Round of applause, man. You deserve your flowers, bro. Honestly, that is especially just to hear props from other people in a time where you really weren't doing much and you're still pushing. Congratulations, OP. Honestly, bro.
thank you. I appreciate it. You deserve your flowers too, my man. I swear you are a man of the people. I always see you out there doing things and for people and never asking for much in return. So, you know.
Thank you, bro. I've yeah. I definitely have grown in the time with music as well. It's a really rich community. Of course, it's going to be ups and downs in any sort of community you get yourselves into, whether it be new or old. But yeah, bro. Who exactly has really made you feel like, oh, like giving you just this wow factor as soon as you heard it from someone? Because there's always going to be that one person that you sort of it's aspired and looked up to, and as soon as you hear it from them, it's just like, holy shit, I feel like I've made it. Is there anything
Um,
like that?
So most of the boys actually, when I first started going to Hustle and Flow, I couldn't freestyle very well, and
Yeah.
all these guys could, you know, Dose and Co and all them and Izzy. So I made like I really wanted that was my mission. I really wanted to get good at freestyling, be just as good as them. And lately they've been telling me like that I'm catching up to them. You know, we're almost on par with each other now, and that's only been a year since I started taking freestyling seriously. So it's the guys in my crew that I consider really good freestyles, and man, we got like some really good freestylers. Tiny Tones alone, Dose and KHO, Steezy kills a freestyle as well. They're all really good at freestyling, so I was looking up to them. I was watching them, you know, and going, damn, I wish I could be as good as these guys. And yeah, when they started giving me props, you know, it was a really good thing. I was on the radio. I was on Koori FM with Izzy last month, Izzy and Primitive, and he gave me props that during that session where he was telling me that I'd improved a lot, and that meant a lot coming from Izzy because you know he's the OG. We all you know look to him, yeah, and we all look up to him a little bit. So yeah, it was really nice hearing it from Izzy as well. So the boys and Izzy particularly really motivated me to get better with my craft. And when it comes to freestyling, I feel like that also helps you just in general with writing as well. Dose will say it like it's like a muscle. You use one to help the other, and it's like a cycle kind of thing. Your freestyles help you get better at writing. Your writings help you get better at freestyles. It's a really good. So
100%. Yeah, freestyle is definitely a thing that I want to improve on personally. If I could, because I know it's a muscle. You can't just go up on the stage and be a natural at it. You got to practice that muscle and, train it.
yeah,
Especially coming from someone like Steez. He's such a mic hog with his
a little
freestyles.
bit.
I
We
love,
all get a bit hoggy sometimes.
yeah. No, but just the crew you guys got going, especially with the Hustle and Flow crew. I want to know how that come to be with all you guys coming together, and how was your first time at Hustle and Flow?
So my first time I went with Pedro and like PF Beats and Romy. I don't know if you've met Romy, make it make sense. He's a great artist and he takes his craft very seriously. But we all met there and I remember saying to them like we're all artists, you know, we should go there. And I went there the first time. And the first time I went in because I was thinking it was going to be like 8 Mile, I was like, you know, like mean mugging people. Like, I'm gonna get up there and do my thing. You know what I mean? And I hadn't freestyled in a while, so I was really trying to psych myself up. Even Jimmy the Hand, he was DJing. He'll tell you like you looked like you were in 8 Mile, like you were trying to, you know, go in there, and that's just not the way that place is, you know. So I was sitting there mean mugging for a little bit, and Tiny Tones actually came up to me, and he said, "Hello, bro," and he goes, I'm Tiny Tones, and he's got, you know, these face tats. You've met Tiny Tones and stuff. And I
Yeah,
was a bit intimidated. I'm like, oh damn, like he just walked straight up to me kind of thing. But that was like it made me feel comfortable because it's like, oh no, these are just dudes. They're not competing. It's not like a battle or whatever. They're just dudes who are nice and want to see other people get better and also want to have their chance to show off and things like that. And I feel like that environment, where it's just chill. It's never like, oh, my raps are better than your raps kind of thing. Um, I feel like that was a breeding ground for something like this to happen. I went in there, I saw all these dudes who were getting along, and rapping together and becoming friends. And but no one was like going like, we should do a crew. It always was going to be one. It's just like I was the first one to step in and be like, yo, we should do a crew. Me and Steezy just put a name to it, and that was it. The rest of it was all organic. It's just RTB, man. It like breeds that kind of culture. Like even the boys from Raw Records, a lot of them met at RTB. Like it's happened before. It's like history repeating itself kind of thing. So that's pretty much what it was. I went in there for my first time, like really mean mugging. Um, and I got up. I wasn't really that good because I hadn't done it in a while. But if I had like been booed or been like, oh, someone had been like, you suck or whatever, I probably would not have come back. But because everyone was so nice and friendly, I came back and I made heaps of friends through it too, which is great. But yeah, my first time I was real nervous, and I was all 8 Mile thinking I was B Rabbit and they was gonna go up there and be a movie.
I mean, it probably felt like a movie after everyone was so friendly, nice to you. You weren't expecting it either, and
Yeah.
that's sort of what that place breathes. Because when I went in there first time, 2019, and I'd be going there here and there, but like it's always been friendly. I can go in there and just be myself and not even be a rapper and just do that. So I encourage anyone who's watching just to go into Rock the Block, Hustle and Flow. Such a beautiful community there, man. I've seen a lot of first performances go on there too, and people just going back there after they haven't been there in years, and or just continuously going there. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful place, man.
Yeah, it's underrated place, a lot of people um come and go and stuff, but I feel like the people who've been sticking around have really been making it what it is, especially with Izzy at the helm, and he's really good at keeping it the culture like um new and interesting and giving everybody their spot. It's actually a really good place. I also implore anybody to go down there, and it's every Thursday night, and like you can go down. You don't even have to rap. We've had people go in there and sing. One time I seen a guy get on the mic, someone passed him the mic, he just went, yeah, and then passed it to the next person. It's just a place to have fun. And if you like being a bit silly or, getting a bit out of your comfort zone and doing something, either to make people laugh or to make people go stank face or whatever, it's the best place to go, man. Such a free and interesting place to be at.
100%. And Izzy, tell me about him because well, some people don't really know who he is. Tell me about Izzy. How did you meet him? Who is he to you? What is he to the community?
Izzy's always sort of been there, like for quite some time. All these crews, he knows them and they know of him. But he's more of a freestyle guy, you know what I mean? He has tracks out and stuff. He has like albums out and things, but he's a man of the culture, for 100% man of the culture. He's always out at events. He's always running events. He took me busking my first time. He really taught me how to have stage presence and stuff. So you know, people who just like sort of see Oz rap on the surface won't know all these guys. Like there are guys who back in my day they were like super popular. They had an album out, and you ask people now they don't know who they are. But Izzy, you ask people who are around the scene who he is, and people know. People know who he is just based on the fact that he's always at these events, and he has been since he was a young guy. Yeah, he's really just been in the field for so long that he's like got all this knowledge and things to impart onto us newer artists and people who are just emerging now. Izzy really showed me how to hold myself on stage, and he expects better of us too. When we're rapping, he encourages us not to swear. When he's always giving us like the 4 bar game where everybody goes 4 bars, and it keeps you on your toes. It helps you sort of flex and get that muscle up. So I 100% believe that Izzy like very much needed in the culture. Like he's such a like he cares about this scene so much, probably more than any other person I've met. He made every single RTB unless he was physically unable to, and that's been like twice, you know. It's unbelievable, like the man's dedication to the culture, even when it wasn't, at the top or on its best legs. It was always he was always there, and I give him props for that one. I just need to go switch on a PowerPoint before my laptop dies.
You're right,
Sorry, one
bro.
sec.
I won't add this in the video.
Sorry about that.
It's all right, bro. I won't add it into the video. I'll cut it off there. And then just
You could put it on there if you want to be funny. I'll let you.
that's true. Um, fucking hell. I honestly would love to be like Izzy, just to be very consistent with one thing. But the problem with me is that I want to be everywhere. I want to be here, there. That's where I'm like I'm a mixed bag. You know that too. And
Yeah, no.
I love the culture. I love going. That's the one place I always return back to is Rock the Block, especially with someone like Izzy. I've tried to like talk to him about the culture, but this man has stories upon stories about it. So mad props to him and fucking hell, bro. Tell us about the album, honestly. This project you got coming up, all the boys that you guys just came together just to work on something. It's probably magical to do.
Well, at the moment, me and the crew, we're just working on a few singles. It's not like a whole cohesive project with a theme or anything. It's just a few things to get us really rolling. In the future, we are going to put together a project of sorts, like a full project. But right now, I've got like a few of the guys who are working on their own EPs, and I want to help them get their stuff out before we shift focus onto, you know, um, whole crew endeavors. Um, uh, Me and PF have decided we're going to work on like a joint album together, him on the beats, me on the vocals and things like that. So that's also in the works. But currently I have a solo album coming out. It's an EP. It's called LLP, and it's my first ever like official release. I've released things before on like Bandcamp and mixtapes and stuff like that, but this is the first one where I paid for all the beats and did everything correctly, and it's going on streaming services through my distributor and all kinds of things like that. So I'm very excited for that. That comes out on the 20th, and it's a short album. It's 5 tracks long. But each track, it's 5 tracks long because I wanted each track to like be impactful and not really. I wanted to trim all the fat kind of thing. I didn't want any filler songs or anything like that. I wanted 5 songs that mattered, that if you listen to it front to back, you don't want to hit skip. So that's coming out on the 20th. It kind of touches on, me being dormant for so long and finally, getting the confidence to come out and start doing things in the scene and really try get my name out there and let people know that I'm here to stay kind of thing. So that's the LLP, and it comes out on the 20th of December. I'm really, really excited for it. I worked on it for a while. It came out late. It was meant to come out a few months ago, but I was trying to get some cuts from somebody, and the system wasn't working, and it was getting to December, and I'm like, I just got to submit this thing. So it's a bit delayed, but I'm happy to have it released this year, and I think it's gonna. I don't know if it's gonna make waves, but I think the people who do listen to it will remember it for sure. I've performed it before at Hustle and Flow, and I got a lot of really good compliments about it. So I have faith in it. I'm proud of it, and yeah, I can't wait for it to release. There are 2 singles out for it already. Two of those of the 5 tracks are already out. They're called Return and the title track LLP. You can stream those now. Under opeej on all platforms, but the whole album comes out on the 20th, and it's 3 extra tracks that really it's the meat in the sandwich. So
100%, bro. I'm really excited for it because like I've been following you for a while, especially since going that. Like your opinion of my opinion of you has only been going in a more positive light, especially with your freestyle and stuff and how you've been an MC. I wanna like learn that too. That's so cool that you do that. You're a very versatile and diverse person, man. Like, and I know this album's gonna kick ass. I know it is, especially with some of your songs like One Return and even what's it call it, 5 LLP. Tell me about those tracks and even some of the tracks you got coming out.
Yeah, so I wrote the album over the course of a few months, and I went in to see Ghost Attack, who's the CEO of Raw Records. He put the whole thing together, and he runs a studio outside of his room. And Ghost Attack graciously allowed me to record with him for free. Didn't ask me for a dime. Didn't ask
Mm,
me for a single dime. And that really helped tremendously because I was kind of unemployed when I was recording this album. I wrote it while I was working, but I ended up falling out of work. So having him there to really help me out and get it recorded was not only good for my mental health, being unemployed and having something to do, but it also just sort of helped me, um, feel like I was doing good enough to where people want to see this thing come out because believe in me or they believe in the music. And that was really, really like big ups to Ghost Attack for real. He really helped me out to put this thing together. It was all recorded at the Upper Lab, which is closing unfortunately, but he'll be reopening elsewhere in the future. I don't want to talk too much about it, but
yeah.
it was all recorded at the Upper Lab with him. He engineered it. I mixed it. I mastered it. I bought all the beats from BeatStars. But I chose those two because it's the first track and the last track. And it's sort of designed. Uh, the first track is designed to sort of reel you in without, it's a chill kind of track. It's about me moving back out west after living up north for so long. It's also a metaphor for returning back to music and doing things artistically because I didn't make a lot of music for a while. There was a good 2 years where I wasn't writing anything. I was making a few beats here and there, but not really doing anything with them. So it's also talks about, my return to the stage and to the scene, and I hadn't performed in 6 years before last year and the show I'd done last year, and I've done a few more shows since then. So it was really like a long time kind of coming thing, and I really wanted my first actual release because those two are my first releases on streaming ever. I wanted them to hit hard, and I wanted them to really reel people in. So I wanted to give two sides of my, no pun intended, of my, personality with those two tracks. You have the one that's very chill, it's very melodic and spacey. And then you have the end track, which is a bit more intense, it's a bit more fiery, it's got more to say. Uh, and I felt like that was important for those two to be released. I like every song equally. There's one track number two I really, really enjoy. But I felt like those were good to get people to introduce them again. For those who had listened before and were coming back, or those new people such as yourself who hadn't heard me before, I felt like those were good, a good two things to really show what kind of musician I am. I can do this chill sort of trappy style stuff, and I can do the hardcore, you know, lyricism kind of stuff too. I love all that kind of stuff. I pretty much just emulate the music that I want to hear, and yeah, so I felt it was very important to show both those, to have the contrast there kind of thing. And like I said, it's a sandwich, you got the bread there, it's all nice, it looks good, but the meat's coming. And that's when you're gonna get the full experience.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I like that you want to try, you're switching up and jumping between something soft and chill to something hardcore. Especially trying to introduce the people to your sound that is you being returning or even new fans, bro. Even my next question was going to be, what was your favorite track? But you answered that being track number two.
Track number two,
Track number two.
unreleased as of now, but it's a roughly 3 minute song with no hook. It's just one big long verse, and I've always loved songs like that that just sort of go ham with the lyricism and the bars and things like that. And yeah, no hook. type deal. So that's my favorite song. I'll be keen to hear everybody else's favorites too. I love when people tell me like what their favorite track on a project is or their favorite part or whatever. I really, really love hearing that stuff. And I love when people also like tell me like I think you could have done this a bit better or that a bit better because I need that kind of feedback. So that's what I'm mostly excited for is the feedback and hearing from people what worked and what didn't work and how I can improve for the next one.
100%, man. Honestly, you're always going to be growing every single day. So I can't imagine where you're going to be tomorrow or the day after that, especially
Uh,
next year, bro. I'm sure you're hyped for next year too.
Oh man, I'm so hyped for next year. We got so many things coming. I feel like next year's gonna be our year. We've spent the last like 6 to 7 months sort of just figuring out, what roles people are gonna play and who's gonna step up for what and who really wanted to ride and who didn't and things like that. And now we've got all that sorted out. Everybody's got their role to play and we all chip in, you know. Uh I just like my man KHO. I gave him man of the match yesterday because he came out with like 3 verses plus a freestyle, and he had all of them ready. And it took him like maybe 2 takes most, to get them done. And seeing that from someone like Ko, who has yet to release anything, has had all these raps for 30 years and hasn't had any way to release them because he doesn't know how to use computers. I'm like really glad to see him taking the opportunity to step up and like get something done and get something released, and he sees the opportunity, he jumps on it. And that's what I love to see is, my fellas, my guys jumping on these opportunities that we're creating together because I want to see them, I want to see them shine just as much as myself or anybody else. You know what I mean? That's important to me. Their shine is as important to me as my own. Probably even more important, to be quite fair sometimes, you know. Um, but yeah, I'm really, really excited for next year. We're going to be doing some big things in 2025.
Oh, God damn, bro. I like how you can be selfless and really caring towards your crew. Tell me about the members of your crew as well. You've mentioned a few names, but is there anyone else we're missing?
We've got about 10 members, give or take.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to recount. I'm not great with numbers. Um, but we've got roughly about that. So it was at the beginning, it was me and Deezy. I don't know if you've met Deezy.
No.
Um, but it was me and Deezy sort of just linking up. We were going to make an EP actually. It never came out, but because it turned into a whole crew and then we started working on other things. So it started off with me and Deezy wanting to do an EP together. And then I was seeing we were scouting people for features. We wanted to get features on each track. We're talking about who we would have in there and stuff. And it sort of just ended up rolling into, well, if all these guys like our music and want to work with us, like, why don't we just do a crew? We can all help each other. And, people have, everybody has different contacts and different things that they can bring to the table and things like that. So it was like, if we pull all our resources together and, work as a team, we can get more achieved. And I've seen people like Doze, who was releasing singles every other month, really, really good, solid singles. People like Tiny Tones, who like brilliant freestyler, and just if some of his songs are just unreal. Like if you ever get the chance to check out some Tiny Tone songs, some of them are absolutely unreal. So I seen all this talent and it was, yeah, me and Deezy just decided like let's just do a whole crew of it. So it was me, Deezy, and then Steezy was actually, I was going to get confusing with the names because I got a Deezy and a Steezy, but
Mm.
Steezy actually was like the third guy to come in and be like, yeah, well, let's turn this into a whole thing, and like he started writing with us, we started writing with him, writing songs together, and from there, uh I asked, a few other people, and they're like, yeah, and then I told Tiny Tones, because I thought Tiny Tones and Dose, I figured like, oh, they're too good, man. They don't want to join my crew. I was a little bit shy about it, you know what I mean? I was coy, so I was like trying to tell them about it to gauge their interest. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm like putting a crew together just to see how they'd respond. And both of them were like, bro, I'd join your crew. That's mad. So I'm like, yeah, please do, please join. Uh, you know, so there's myself, Deezy Street, Steezy Salsa, Pedro, PF Beats. When the whole thing started taking off, I said to him, I go, I want you here something's happening and I want you to be part of it. I don't exactly know what it is yet, but something's happening. So he came aboard. We've got Artican, who is a Artigat, who's a artist that's unreleased at the moment, like completely no mixtapes, nothing. I think he's got a feature with Nino, who you done the video for. But other than that, completely unreleased. We're still developing his sound and what he wants to do, but he's got a lot of good things. We've got my man Chris, who has not picked a name yet, but we're developing his sound so that, he can come out the gates confident and ready and things like that. We got my man Tiny Tones, obviously, the man himself, the Uber positivity master. We've got Sleeping Judas, who is the best friend of DZ, is a really wonderful singer. One day I'll actually manage to get him into a studio and I'll show all of you how great he is at singing. Sings like a drunken angel. We've got Damn, who else do we got? I'm blanking. We've got KHO and Dose, who are just like some brothers, like they're brothers that are with the first guys that I started talking to at RTB, really, those two. And I always knew eventually that we would do stuff together. So we got them. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anybody, and I'm very sorry if this comes out and I did miss somebody, but I think that's mostly it. We got my bro, Denai, Cotton One, who's a very young talent, absolutely smashes it for his age, and he saw what we were doing, and I gave him a bit of grace period. I'm like if you're really about it, you can join up with us and do what we're doing, and he's really been stepping up and absolutely killing some of his verses as well. But yeah, that's practically it. It's a lot to remember. It's a Wu-Tang thing. You never know who's gonna be in and who's gonna be out and things like that. A lot of people think it's like, oh, it's like the RTB crew, but they just call themselves something else. That's not really it. The RTB crew is like its own thing. Just a lot of us happen to be in it. Um, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much the main crew. Most of us are lyricists and singers. Pedro's a full-time producer. I dabble in production, but I'm not as good as Pedro. We're actually training some of our lyricists up who have shown interest in production, showing them how to do things. Because like if this thing were to ever end, or because all good things end eventually, unless you become like a mega empire, which is kind of what I want. But if this thing ever does end one day, I'd like everyone to walk away from it having a brand new skill set and things that they can, take and then use for themselves to help grow their careers or whatever. So I hope we have a great ride, and I hope people walk away from it. If they do walk away, or even if it lasts forever, I hope people gain new skill sets that they can use for themselves. I want to see everybody become a good producer. I want to see people become better lyricists. PF has moved into a video editing and video recording role because he just wanted to do that. And I want, if anybody shows sort of interest in learning something new, I do everything I can to sort of help them out and learn what they can, give them a bit of my knowledge. But that's the whole crew. Um, there used to be a few more, but like I said, some people weren't really sure if they were riding with us or if they, weren't a fan of the workflow and stuff like that. So it's all love, those people who helped start it and then have gone their own way. It's all love with them. We got no bad blood with anybody. And like I say, if this is a bandwagon, if somebody wants to come help push a little bit and then go do their own thing, well, we still got the momentum, you know what I mean? So it's always good.
That sounds really good, bro. Honestly, OP, I congratulate you because you like really want everyone to succeed, and that's what makes a great leader, honestly, bro. So fucking a
That's
round of
it.
applause for OPJ.
We're all gonna make it. We're all gonna make it out, Sway. There's hope
100%.
for everybody.
What is the end goal for you? Because that's something I want to know. Because everyone has a
Uh,
different end goal with it. Do you want to be rich and famous? Do you want to like
Look,
what is it?
this is gonna sound a bit nuts, but like ultimately, like best case scenario, like total world domination, like two sides are everywhere. Like we're in all the governments, everybody's flag has like the little two on it, kind of thing like that. That would be great. Like I ideally, but for a more realistic goal, I want to have fun. I want to uplift the culture, and I want to. I really want to release something that um is considered like a few years from now is considered a classic, something that helped change the landscape or something that helped, you know, other people become confident enough to record their own album or things like that. That's what I want for now. For now, I would love just to carve my own piece and create a body of work that is respected, that people consider like integral to this part, this era of music right now.
100%. That's a good goal to have, bro.
I think
That,
so.
that really is good. Um, how would you describe yourself then? Honestly, aside from your music, because you've told us a lot about that, but what about you?
Oh, that's a hard question. Me myself, man, like I'm not gonna say I'm a regular guy because I'm really not, but I just want to sort of my main goal is to sort of be happy and like have peace. I spent a lot of time being unconfident and really ripping on myself and stuff. And I'm kind of kicking myself that I spent so long doing that because I feel like I missed out on a lot of opportunities to have great times or meet new people. So I'm kind of making up for that. You know what I mean? People often say like, oh, it's great that you're for the culture and that you really care about people. And the reason why I really care about people is because I went a long time with like not really having any friends or any real friends, you know what I mean? Like I don't talk to many people from before this crew and this stuff. Most of the people I talk to now are people that I met at RTB at Hustle and Flow. I didn't really have any kind of community, and it was something that, you know, I feel like every person, if they're not just content with being alone, because some people are content with being alone, and that's perfectly fine. But if you're not content with being alone, you really do need a community and you need good people around you. You need good friends, so when people ask me like, oh, like how are you so for everyone else, I go, because there was a time in my life where I didn't have any of this. I used to dream, like I used to have like daydreams about putting a crew together and having a good group of mates to go up and do music with. And I always thought it was just going to be just that, a dream. So now that I have that, I'm not going to let that go. Like I'm going to do everything I can to keep it sustained and to keep everyone pushing, so that we can all push together. Because you ain't nothing without a community, man. Especially if you're a people person. I love people. I really do. Like I thought for the longest time that I did not like people. I was like, oh, I don't like people. I don't want to talk to people. That's not who I really am. I just wasn't around the right people. And now, bro, I found my people, and I really like I. It's my way of like giving back to them because I didn't have any of this for so long. So my way of giving back to them is doing everything I can to make sure that we can pop off and make this a real thing, you know?
God damn, bro.
So yeah,
You're making me emotional and motivated, man. God damn.
that's good. That's good. You need that.
100%, bro. Because like at least some parts I can relate with you, and sure, I'm sure a lot of others can. That especially being alone in community, that's beautiful. Honestly, OP. Fuck, bro. I need to find a question to follow this up on. Okay, what about the biggest challenges you face breaking out into the music scene?
Connections, definitely connections. But that was mostly my problem. For ages, I thought I liked rap and hip hop, but I didn't like the scene because I met a few people that, weren't the nicest people. Like back in 2016, I started trying to go out and it didn't really go very well. So like, um, that was a big hurdle for me. And then also not comparing myself to other artists. Like I don't know if you've done this where you see like a piece of media that someone's done and you're doing something similar, but like they're what they've created just like blitzes everything you had, and now you're like, damn, I want to make something like that. It's like I can't because that's not me. So comparing myself to other people was a really, really big hurdle that was hard to get over. For a little bit, I had a protege for a little bit. I taught him like how to rap when I was like 19, you know what I mean? Like I showed him and then he got really good. And I remember for two, like my cousin, who's a straight shooter, he just won't lie to me, especially about music. Like if I send him a song and it's bad, he'll be like, "Yeah, it's bad, and you shouldn't release it." And I'm like, "Thank you, I appreciate that," because he's just completely honest. He said to me, he goes, "Oh yeah, that dude, he's like better than you now." And that messed with me, bro. That messed with me. I kept comparing myself to this guy who, I taught. And instead of just being happy that I had a mate that was rapping with me and we could do stuff together, I started going, damn, like he's better than me. I should just stop doing what I'm doing. So went on hiatus for so long. I didn't think I was going to come back. Like, I didn't think I was going to keep writing music and stuff. But um, because I kept comparing myself to not just him, but other rappers that I liked and listened to, and other people in the scene that maybe I don't like their music so much. And I'm like, why is he up there and I'm not? And yeah, I ended up learning that if you compare yourself to people all the time, like, you just get stuck. You know what I mean? Doing that. So that's probably was my biggest hurdle, is comparing myself to other people and not allowing myself to be like my authentic self, you know?
100%, bro. Again, inspiring. Like, you even answered my next question was gonna be about a moment that you did feel like giving up and how'd you overcome it. But damn, man, you answered that.
Yeah, well, it took a while to come back from that too. It was a good 2 years where I didn't do anything or make anything, and it was like a really kind of depressing time. Like if I'm a kind of creative where if I'm not actively making stuff, I kind of, you know, get really upset. It's very strange. Like if I go like a few weeks without making a beat or working on a song or doing something, I start to like unconsciously like I start getting shittier with things and being a bit more grumpy and stuff. So yeah, it was like difficult for that 2 years. But I remember I was at work, um, and I was just listening to MF Doom. He's got all of his instrumentals released under the Special Herbs and Spices, and I was just listening to one of them beats, and I just started writing, and out of nowhere, it just sort of came back. You know what I mean? And I met Sosa, and Sosa started giving me like that's Romy. He started giving me like heaps of props in the warehouse, and then I met Pedro, and Pedro started giving me heaps of props, and it was these people who were I was showing my stuff to like here and there. They were really fueling me to start writing again, because they're like, damn, like where did all this come from, kind of thing. I've been rapping for years. I had the skill. I like my head was somewhere else. And then like I turned my kind of life around, changed my views on things, and came back to it with a new perspective. And I feel like that was really necessary for me to come back, was the shift in perspective. My biggest problem was like I didn't know what I wanted to talk about or what I wanted to rap about. I just, like I said, I either just rapped about like violent stuff just because I thought it sounded cool, or I rapped about how good I was at rapping. And I got sick of it. I'm like, there's no substance there. So I had to change as a person to really be able to come back with a new perspective and new things to write about. Cause like, I was in my early 20s. I was still growing. I hadn't really experienced much yet. So I went through all these experiences and all these changes, and really was able to come back with a brand new perspective and just sort of improve and pick up where I left off and just sort of improve with it straight away, especially because I had these outside, sources going, "You're the shit. This is awesome." Like, and really, really meaning it too. Like, not just, you always have yes men and stuff that are like, "Oh yeah, it's mad, bro." But these guys really were giving me good props and actual feedback and stuff. So I feel like I've improved tremendously in the past year alone because of just how many good influences I have around me. And that's very important to, when you have those moments of doubt and you start down on yourself and things like that. It's you need to just shift your perspective and find new experiences and new things to tackle.
100%, man. You're a true inspiration at PJ. It's just a pure definition of resilience and not giving up. It has taken you some time, but you still got there in the end, and especially giving back with people. Now, my next question, you've told me where music has taken you, but how do you relate to it?
Music is like part of my soul, man. Like it actually affects my mood some days. Like some days I'll be having a good day, and then a specific song will come on that reminds me of like things I used to be sad about or whatever, and I'll start like feeling the song and getting sad. Music's like, it helps me put my own thoughts into perspective. Like sometimes I don't really know how I'm feeling, until a song explains it to me. It doesn't even necessarily need words. Sometimes it can just be the tones or the instruments. And it's like it's almost like it helps me sort of understand how I'm feeling and recognize it. It also allows me to let it out a little bit. I'm very, very much in tune with music. My girlfriend, sometimes I come home and I just chuck the headphones on because I want to feel something. And I listen to stuff that makes me like really get into my feels. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, get all brooding and stuff. Yeah, music is very, very important to me. It's like a meditative state for me, at least. I know some people just like hearing, my cousin just likes hearing the nice beeps and boops and the drums and stuff. But to me, I connect with it on an emotional level, very deeply too, you know. Um,
What song comes to mind when you think of trying to get into the feels for you?
it's one by Proof of D12. It's called Kurt Cobain, with a K instead of a C, for Cobain. It's not a super popular track. It was from Proof's solo album. But it's like a ballad of what it's like to deal with doubts and things that hold you down or hold you back and stop you from being your full like nourished self. It's a it's a sad track, don't get me wrong. It's like even the instrumental is like bleeding, you know what I'm saying? But that to me is like the first track that comes to mind. It's sort of just a ballad about what it's like to go through it really. And not many people know it. If you haven't heard that song and you like, old schoolish rap, check out Kurt Cobain by Proof. It was a really good song. It's a great album too. Very slept on.
Yeah, thanks for putting us on that, bro. Other people should be listening to that. What about there's gotta be a verse or at least a song or an artist that really inspires you.
I have a few actually. So,
Sure.
because I do both production and lyricism, I have lyrical inspirations and I have production inspirations. So there's a few of them. And the first one, I'll just get it out the way now. His name is Bruce Faulconer, and he made the soundtrack for the American version of Dragon Ball Z. All the guitars and things like that. I've always loved the music from that show, from the US version specifically. So I looked him up and I listened to all of the tracks, on their own without, the fighting sounds and the plot happening with them. And I really, really got a lot of inspiration. Some of my beats sound like direct Bruce Faulconer rip-offs with like trap drums thrown on them. So production wise, he's been one of my main. Also, Tyler the Creator in general. I was a big OF fan back in 2011. I've been listening ever since then. I've seen the dude live. I've watched him go from, that second album that was a bit horrorcore and a bit edgy into like an actual fully fledged producer, rapper who makes like front to back great fucking projects like with meaning and authenticity and things like that. So he has always been a really, really big inspiration for me. Because he's also just like a regular dude who just, he showed me that the regular people can just sort of come up out of nowhere and blow up, and you don't have to fit a certain image. You don't have to, you know, change yourself just to suit this scene or whatever. You can just be your authentic self, and some people will really mess with that. So he's also been one of my main inspirations as well on both the production and the lyricism tip. Um, Also, love me my Biggie. I'm a big Biggie fan, very influenced by him. But those are the main ones. Bruce Faulconer, Tyler Creator, and Biggie Smalls mostly. Yeah,
It's a really good selection, bro. Real good selection. Very
I
tight.
think it's diverse. Yeah.
It is, bro. You got an old school who has like really good storytelling for his rhymes, and then Tyler who, you know, I'm sure everyone knows his story, but
Yeah,
damn,
of course.
I don't know the other guy, unfortunately. Doesn't ring a bell to me.
Most people won't. Like I said, he creates scores and soundtracks and stuff. So he just made the soundtrack for Dragon Ball Z. If you were into it and you like the music, you'd know. Like, but yeah, not a lot of people know his name. But he's ever since a kid, I've been hearing his music, so it's always sort of had a impact on me in the way that I produce things.
100%. You've
Yeah.
had a lot of shows and stuff too. Do you have anything that comes to mind that's really memorable to you that will always stick by you?
Like personal moments at my shows.
I'd say either one, really.
Yeah, well, seeing Hilltop Hoods live with the entire Sydney Symphony Orchestra behind them on their Restrung tour back in 2016 was honestly like one of the highlights of my life. You know, there was 60 people. It looked like 60 to me, but there was like a whole bunch of people on stage playing the beats on violins and stuff. It was an absolutely phenomenal experience. Um, for myself, recently we went to the Bodega Collective event in at the Parramatta Lanes Festival just I think last month or the month before. Tiny Tones and I went there and we got selected out of the crowd to come up there and rap. It was a big crowd. And I was getting hyped up for it, you know what I mean? Like I was kind of like I'm ready to do that. I want to kill this because of how big. The bigger the crowd for me, the more I want to go up there and freestyle. I know that turns some people off, but to me, I live for that that scream people give you when you do really good. There's a video up of it. But I sort of just went into the zone and I dropped my freestyle and people were going off and screaming at me, and that's probably one moment that I always remember. Also, a similar moment at the Coast Boys Connect show. Shouts out to those boys. They've been showing us much love, Wiley Deed and all them. He's got a new track, Bummy. It's a really good track. But yeah, those boys when they done their show, we were doing the open mic at the start. You know, obviously doing freestyles, and they packed out the whole house, and they were also screaming at me, and that was like it's those moments where you realize you like all that doubt. If you had any, just goes away, and you go, "Damn, I am good." And it's like you're allowed to sit there and kind of toot your own horn a little bit, you know, internally. You don't want to do it outwardly. But yeah, those moments where you can sit there and go, damn, I'm good and like believe it and like not feel like a dick about it. Those are the moments that I live for, man.
100%. How
Yeah.
do you even deal with performing live? Because I mean, how do you prepare for stuff like that yourself?
I'm probably a bit different to the regular rapper. I'm so about my craft that I remember a lot of my stuff, you know, a few weeks after, like a few days after writing it. You know, I practice it that much to where I don't need to read it anymore. Usually, it'll take at max a week for me to memorize something. So, um, for me personally, I kind of go into these zones where it's all I focus on. I hyper focus, I auto focus. I already know these songs front to back anyway because I usually memorize all my lyrics. Like I recently lost my phone with all my lyrics on it, and it was not an issue. I've got a 10-track album that I haven't even recorded. You know what I mean? But it's not an issue because I remember exactly every single bar. So for me, it's a bit different. All I really do is sort of chuck the beat on the day, run through it a few times, make sure I'm not, you know, misremembering anything or that I'm not going to get stuck somewhere. Because sometimes you think you know every lyric and then there's one lyric comes up, you forget it, and like, oh damn. So I always double check. Yeah, I always double check to make sure like I do remember it properly, but it's not like I don't really rehearse. You know, I go up there and I spend so much time on stage freestyling because I do it every Thursday to where I don't feel like I have to choreograph nothing or figure out where I'm going to walk or where I'm going to stand because it's all sort of comes natural to me now, which is a real good benefit of going down and, you know, hitting open mics whenever you can is that you just get stage presence like nothing. Um, I feel like my crowd control is pretty good. Like I'm good at getting the crowd on my side. So I don't know. I'm confident enough to that when I prepare for my own show at least, it's not really that much of a thing. But now when I prepare for a show for me and the boys, oh lordy, that's like a stressful time for me. Because you know, having 10 guys who all have different beats that we're all performing on, and I'm the guy putting it all together on the USB or the Google Drive file, and I got to get it to the DJ, and I also got to make it to the venue myself on time. And you know, having 10 guys, a lot of them you don't get their beats until the very last minute. So I'm there like 15 minutes before I got to leave, putting the set together and you know, putting the set list and making sure that it's like readable and easy to find. And so when it comes to like crew shows and stuff, I stress the entire time. Even though I probably shouldn't, I'm a stress head like that when it comes to dealing with other people because I don't want to let anybody down. So I stress the entire time, and then we get there, and it's like not even a problem. Every stress that I had, like everything I was worried about, just works out. Um, so yeah, it's like there's two different. When it's my own thing, I'm really really chill. But when I'm like managing others and like I got to be on point for other people, I get really stressed out.
I can't imagine, bro. I can't even
Uh,
imagine what it would have been like for you in school with school projects too.
I mean, in school, I was usually avoiding school projects. I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I'm not usually the type to just step into like a leadership role or anything. This is kind of something that's new to me. Like growing up, I had like one mate in primary school, you know what I mean? We weren't leading anything, you know. Um, and I mostly just did what he wanted to do because this is the kind of kid I was. So this is kind of like my first time really stepping into a leadership role, and I just try to act how I think a good leader would act. Like if I was on the other side, like how would I feel about these actions or what's being said and stuff. And I feel like that really helps keep me on my toes and, do the best for everyone and not make anyone pissed off or upset. Actually, the crew, and you think having a crew of like 10 dudes, there'd be like egos and stuff like that, but there's really none of that. Like we're all really just super chill with each other, and we're all like promoting each other and running each other up whenever someone releases stuff. And yeah, it's really awesome. There's like no egotism about it at all. We're all in there for each other, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
man.
So that's a stone's throw away from high
It,
school, no kidding.
yeah, it's worth stressing for. That's
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah.
100%. You like you said, you live for that sort of stuff, especially seeing the end results will probably be a lot for you too.
Oh boy, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
really excited.
Now, how about your favorite and least favorite thing about being a musician, especially in a crew?
My least favorite thing about being a musician right now is like the pursuit of audience is like a lot difficult now. If you don't have the right information, if you're like tech savvy and you know what trends are going on and you know how to market stuff, I'm completely shit at marketing. I'm not a great marketer at all. It's not my field. But I feel like the way now feels really like an uphill battle just to get people to even listen to the thing in the first place. You know what I mean? Let alone talk about it. And that's why I think it's great to have people like you who shine a light on what people are doing, because it's genuinely very hard to sort of, at least for me, I'm not the type of guy where I'm like, listen to my music, listen to my music. Hey, have you listened to my music? I'm not that kind of guy. I want to like talk to people who might genuinely be interested about it. So that for me, like, is my current biggest problem with being a musician at the moment, is that I feel like I have to sort of get good in all these different fields when I just want to push the one thing that I'm good at. You have to make videos, you have to make content, you have to do just stuff like that, and marketing and all that. And because we're independent, we don't have like a label or anything. We don't have any monetary backing for that. We don't have a team of marketers who are just for that. So we all got to do it ourselves. And that is, I'm not going to lie, while it's great having pure creative freedom, it's why it's taken so long for us to actually get anything out. The crew's 7 months old. We got one track out, and that's because it's like sometimes it's a bit of an uphill battle, just sort of getting everything together, getting studio time, the money, and we're all got jobs and things like that. So even though that like that is like a downside of it, it's not big enough to where it like I actually bothers me or I feel like, ungrateful. I don't sit there going, it's so hard to make music. No, like, no, I love it. And I don't care if like 5 people listen or 5,000 people listen or 5 million people listen. Like at the end of the day, I listen to my own track back because I'm weird, and that's a weird thing to do apparently. But I listen to my own tracks and I'm happy with them. And that's the baseline. Like I know that at the end of the day, I'm gonna get a song that I think is hectic. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter if anybody else does. But if if I can get other people to listen and enjoy it too, well, that's awesome. That's great. That's what I want. But at the end of the day, I still get a sick song to listen to that I enjoy at the end of the day. So whether it flops or whether it hits doesn't make all that much difference to me at the moment. And
100%.
that's a great place to be because I don't feel like I'm pressured to release stuff. I don't feel like I have to change my sound. I feel like I can be completely authentic and it's fine. Like what am I gonna do? Lose followers? No. It's cool. Like I have this period where, if anything does pop off, I have this pre-period where I can really just sort of work on what I want and not have to worry about too much, which is great. It's like the other side of that thing. Now, when it comes to working with the crew, the downside is I also have to play manager, which I don't necessarily like doing. I'm not very assertive, sometimes, yeah, I can be a bit like not like 1 foot forward kind of thing. Like I'm often thinking about all these ideas, but not really grabbing on any of them. So I'm a bit stagnant in that end. That's for me the issue, like the one downside. That being said, it doesn't bother me really at all. And it's something that I deal with because I genuinely believe in what we're doing and I believe in the people that I'm working with. And like, I'm happy to step up there and stress a little bit and have to, keep everything on my computer and sort it all out. And I'm happy to do that because at the end of the day, I really, really want to see this thing blossom and grow. Like, it's like watering a garden. I don't like gardening at all, but if I want like flowers and stuff, or if I want a good harvest or whatever, I got to go out there and do the gardening and I got to do it well with passion, not just, seed there. Like, no, you got to do it properly. So, even though those things, I would consider them both things that I'm not too happy to have to deal with, I still don't mind because it's all in service of something. Like it all goes somewhere. My main problem, like the only time I ever really get upset with stuff is when I feel like I'm wasting my time. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if I work a job where I'm working really hard, but the pay is not going up or I'm not getting respected by the manager or whatever, that's when I start to feel cheated. That's when I start getting all in like, oh, well, fuck this then. So I'm more than happy to step up and do things that, you know, I'm not happy about having to do for the most part, just to see this thing grow. That being said, if there's anyone out there who wants to manage us, please come take this job off my hand. I'll pay you eventually in like pennies and coins, but it'll be worth it, trust me.
Yeah, that's just it's your first advertisement on my page, bro.
Yeah,
What looking for a
that,
manager?
I don't
Vacant.
want to be a manager anymore.
No, bro. Even if you're not a manager, you're pretty good like team leader. You consider yourself a team leader. You're pretty good at that because you already have the makings of it. Like you don't care about the streams. You care about things flourishing and turning into its full potential. Not about numbers or statistics, and that's what really makes it more of a solid foundation.
Well, that's it. That's what's important, at least to me, from everything that, I've learned about not just growing yourself musically, but growing yourself as a person. And it's like kind of the same stuff. You need someone who's going to sit there and see your potential and really try work towards it. So, I think if we do this right, if we don't rush out the gate, if we take our time um, and we really, really like ingrain ourselves in this culture, I think we can make something happen. I would at least like to get to the point to where we can all sort of just make music and like maybe make a little bit of extra money. Like this is the minimum like bottom line that I want to get with this crew is like at the very least I want us to be able to like make a bit of cash here and there and be able to go for an extra drink on the weekend or something, and just like continue to be able to do music, make enough to sustain it. But like that's the bottom line. Like that's if we can't go up, which I believe we can. I actually have like zero doubts in my mind that something is going to take off from this somehow in some way. I got like no doubt about it. Like I'm 100% set that something will come out of this, something positive, that's really going to change our lives, even if it's only in the slightest way. You know, I'm very, very confident, 100% confident, actually.
100, bro. I take that. You
Mm.
need that confidence able to like get whatever you want, man. Hard work. Well, how do you manage? your day job and music together? Do you just make time for it regardless?
Well, I've been kind of lucky in that I've only just recently picked up a job that's at a factory that's like 3 days a week at the moment. So before I've had that for a few like about a month now. But before then I was like unemployed for a good chunk of when I was building this thing up, and that's kind of a blessing in disguise because I was able, well, I needed something to focus on while I was waiting for job applications to come back. So I needed something to focus on. And I just shifted full focus to the crew and getting demos together. And that was one way I was able to actually do it, was the fact that I was unemployed. I had all this time in my hands. I was making enough from like Centrelink to get the rent paid. I would spend my Centrelink would come in and I would just spend all of it on my rent for that week and then just sort of figure out what I was doing from there. I'm also lucky that I have my beautiful girlfriend who's been helping me out and, helping me so support my like ourself and stuff like that when I lost my job. So I was kind of lucky. Like for ages, like I sent out, I think I counted it the other day, it was like something like 600 and something applications over the course of those couple months, and just nobody was getting back to me. Like I wasn't even getting responses. So to stop from going crazy, I just worked full time on music. Like while I was waiting for these responses to come back, I was making beats. I was getting the boys ready. We were doing shows as well, because people were asking us to come perform with them. We hadn't even released anything yet, and people were going, "You guys come perform for us, like here and there." And we got heaps of shows, especially through Ra. Ra gave us a whole bunch of shows during that time. So while it seemed at the time like a burden, it was actually a little bit of a blessing that I had all that free time to be able to really plan things out and strategize a little bit and figure out who's doing what. And but now that before that, I was still making music while like working full time. Um, and that was a bit difficult. I wrote a lot of my songs on the bus because I had like quite a long commute, and I would like, smoke up right before work in the morning. I'm sorry if my boss hears this. I don't do that now. But back then I would smoke up in the work at work in the morning, and then, hop on the bus and I'd be inspired because I'm like, somewhat stoned and listening to beats and stuff. So I wrote a majority of it. I think a lot of my EP was written on the bus, actually. That's how old it is. That's how long I've been waiting to release it. Um, so the most difficult thing when you're working full time and trying to record music and stuff is simply just finding the time. You have to do it in those little moments. And some people can't find the time. Like some people don't get inspired during those moments. They're inspired while they're at work, but they have to keep working, or they get inspired 2 days out of the week. It can be very, very difficult. I'm an exception to where I kind of am always thinking about music and what I can write. Like I think it's an actual problem. Like it's like a hyper obsession for me. So I imagine for someone who doesn't like hyper fixate on stuff the same way I do, I imagine if you're working a full-time job, like you're not gonna want to write a song on the bus. You're tired, bro. You're thinking about the day. Like
Yeah,
I
no,
think that's definitely the hardest time, is just finding the time. And it's like a testament to how much, humans are just built to work, because you spend so much time working, you ain't got no energy, when you get home, or you got to spend time with your kids, or you got to spend time with your partner. And you don't want to come home, working 8 hours, see your partner and be like, hang on, babe, like I'm just going to spend the next 4 hours writing music until it's time for me to go to bed. Like that's not fair to them. So yeah, I think it's just time. We do so many things that take up so much of our time for things that we don't even care about. Like, I don't know about you, whatever company I'm working for, I don't care if the company flourishes. Like, I don't care if that company, you know, does well that year. It's not my problem. That's their problem. You know what I mean? So the fact that we have to spend so much time just sort of doing things that like don't matter to us in the long run. It's just to survive kind of thing. I think that's the biggest issue. But like, that being said, in an ideal world, everybody be able to sit around and make music every day, and it get boring eventually. So you need to have these struggles to be able to enjoy what you're doing in the first place.
fucking hell, bro. You're touching every corner, man. Mm, I think finally, what about some advice you'd like to really give someone, or advice that's really inspired you, has really stuck with you?
Some advice that inspired me, that stuck with me. See, I've taken in so much advice. Like I'm built, all my opinions that you hear are like little tidbits that I've taken from other people in my life that I've learned. So it's hard to really pick one. I guess like, and it sounds corny because you know they say it in every movie, every TV show. Literally, don't give up. Like you have to suck at the start of doing anything. And it's not just anything creative. Like I just started a new job making gelato. I suck at making gelato for a few weeks. Now I'm getting better at it. You know, you have to suck and you have to be able to push through that. Some people are lucky. Like I started rapping when I was like 14, like properly like recording stuff. You know, I was 14, I recorded like the worst thing, and I'm like, that's the shit. That's the best thing anyone's ever made. And I was lucky to be like immature enough to not be able to judge it properly, you know, and realize just how bad it was at the time. But that song, even though it's a bad song, it helped me get to where I am now. You have to write 5, 10 bad songs to get to, you know, your good one. And that's what I say to people. People are making fun of you or telling you, oh, you know how to make it. Like, don't let that deter you. Just keep going, cuz. Like, at the end of the day, what you can gain out of it is worth way more than what anyone will ever think of you. So that's my piece of advice to anybody in any kind of endeavor, where they're building something or people don't believe that they can do it. Believe in yourself, bro. Don't ever give up because you never know where you can get. You know, I gave up for 2 years, and that like I during that 2 years, I like was like in the worst mind state. I was like not confident in myself at all, and it was just the wrong way to be, bro. To really be yourself, you have to not be afraid to be made fun of a little bit. You have to not be afraid to maybe write a bad song or two at the beginning, and you really just can't give up. If you really care about what you're doing and you really want to see something happen, just don't give up. Keep striving, keep finding ways to improve, and you'll get there. You will. That's my advice.
Fucking hey, round of applause for OPJ and under the chart, bro. That's insane, man. It's been a
Yeah.
blessing to have you on board, especially with all your wisdom, your struggles, your triumphs, all the things you've learned and grown. Lastly, all I want you to do is just give a big bunch of shout outs to everyone who's really been out there for you, people who you want to bring up, people who you want to put on. To
Yeah.
your head,
Yeah.
bro.
Shout out to my girlfriend who's been holding me down this entire time and has supported me the entire way. Shout out to the people in the community who came to all the shows and yelled when I was freestyling or all that. Shout out to my boys, Deezy, Steezy, Artie. Shout out to Tiny. Shout out to Doze. Shout out to KHO. Shout out to Judas, man. Like if there's any, shout out to PF. Shout out to the haters, people who didn't believe in me. Like for all that stuff is brought us to where we are now. Shout out to Sway and Under the Chart, man. You're doing such a good job out there shining light on people who deserve it, bro. Like I check out your stuff all the time, and like you say all this nice stuff about me, but you, Sway, you're a man of the people, bro, for real. Like for real, for real. You should wear that title with honor. So shout out
Thank
to
you,
my
bro.
mom. And shout out to Raw Records, who really helped us out. Shout out to Izzy and RTB and Rock the Block and Nigel, and all of them. Shout out to the Coast Boys who've been supporting us and you know showing love where they can. Man, like it was great stuff. And shout out Coach Eats as well. I almost forgot him. I think. Yeah,
I think that's everyone. There's
that
probably gonna
might
be
be everyone. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody.
what about Izzy?
Yeah, shout out Izzy. I mean, I kind of meant that when I said RTB and stuff, but I'll say shout out Izzy 100. I hope you're watching this, Izzy, you know, but shout out to you as well, Swate. Like I met you a handful of times and you've been just very pleasant to talk to and to deal with, especially with today. Like we were supposed to meet up and you know, I had done lost my phone and broke my phone and stuff, and you were more than accommodating, my man. So shout out to you as well. Give yourself a pat on the back for being so
Yeah, yeah, thanks, bro. I'm doing that right now.
sick.
No,
Yeah.
shoot. Yeah, you definitely have to really be out there just to put, I guess, be authentic self and put positivity out there because, like, the world's full of hate and death, all this type of shit, and I really want to be able to put the light on people who really deserve it, people who are under the chart, people who are the underdogs, the unheard. And that's what I'm here for. So OPJ, thank you again for coming on front of the chart, bro. This
Thank
is
you
yeah,
for having me on Under the Chart, bro. It's been a pleasure. Shout out, man. Man,
yeah,
one
this has
man
been
Slate, bro.
sweet. Stay tuned, honestly, stay tuned.